We kick off the head-to-heads with a McMahon and Austin promo on Raw. On Nitro, Buff Bagwell takes on Flexi Lexi Luger. Stone Cold comes to the ring and he says he wants to get something straightened out between Mr. McMahon and himself. He threatens to hold the show up if McMahon doesn't appear, but he also promises he won't hurt Vince if Mr. McMahon does indeed have the balls to meet Stone Cold face to face. Vince pokes his head out the curtain. He looks afraid, but Austin again promises he won't hit Vince. This isn't enough assurance for Mr. McMahon, so the boss brings a few boys from the Riot Squad to make sure Stone Cold doesn't knock him out. Vince gets in the ring and Austin has a question. Stone Cold wants to know who his opponent's going to be for the Unforgiven pay-per-view, and Vince says he hasn't made his mind up yet. Austin thinks Vince is doing this on purpose. He's keeping it a secret to keep Stone Cold at a disadvantage. Austin knows that Vince McMahon doesn't like him. He doesn't like the fact that Stone Cold enjoys a few beers and that Stone Cold uses colourful language. Austin thinks that McMahon thinks a real champion should be a guy with an Ivy League education, and Stone Cold can accept that fact. Austin thinks McMahon doesn't want someone like Vince to be WWF champion. Austin thinks McMahon himself wants to be WWF champion. McMahon probably walked around his house with his pajamas on, holding the new WWF championship belt last week, and when he asked Linda how he looked, she said he looked like a jackass. Austin says he knows McMahon loves title defenses as a promoter, so tonight Stone Cold will defend his WWF championship. There's only one opponent for Stone Cold tonight, and that's Mr. McMahon himself. Austin wants to know what McMahon wants to do. He can do this the easy way or the hard way. The easy way is to get a referee and fight Steve Austin for the belt. It'll be too easy for Stone Cold because he could beat McMahon with one arm tied behind his back. Or there's always the hard way, that being Stone Cold just beating McMahon's ass backstage anyway. Vince has 30 minutes to make up his mind, and there's no escape for Vince because his limo driver's already been beaten up and he's got 4 flat tires. After a commercial break, we see McMahon talking to Gerald Briscoe and Pat Patterson, and the lads are telling Vince that he needs to do this. Austin's been getting away with murder for way too long, and it's time for Vince to break his WWF champion. Vince McMahon walks backstage with Patterson, Briscoe and Slaughter. Fans get their first look at McMahon's physique here, and you gotta admit he was in good shape. Then he makes his way to the ring and he begins warming up. Shane McMahon appears again and he tries to get his dad to reconsider this, but Vince is gonna do it and Shane won't change his mind. The roof comes off the arena as the glass shatters and Stone Cold makes his way to the ring. Like Goldberg earlier on Nitro, there isn't a person sitting on their seat, and fans at the time at the venue and watching at home had no idea at all how this would all play out, but it was still very, very interesting. Fans were switching over to Raw to see what would happen. The two square up to each other. Austin laughs and McMahon slaps Stone Cold in the face. Austin's so pissed off here, but Vince grabs a microphone and he reminds Stone Cold of what he said earlier on Raw. Austin said he could beat McMahon with one arm tied behind his back, so it's time to see if Austin's a man of his word. Austin seems hesitant. McMahon wants the right arm tied up, and after some stalling, Austin lets Briscoe tie his right arm behind his back. Austin asks the fans if they want to see him whip Vince's ass with one arm. The crowd gives Stone Cold a hell yeah. They give Vince a hell no though when McMahon wants to know if he can beat Stone Cold. The Stooges get out of the ring. McMahon and Austin are just about to go at it, and then Dude Love's music plays in the arena. McMahon thinks Stone Cold set this up. Austin thinks it was McMahon's doing, but Dude Love walks to the ring and he wants to know why everyone just can't get along. Dude Love says he's the one cat who can bring peace to the war zone. Dude says Austin needs to understand that Vince writes the checks and Vince is Dude Love's main man. But Vince also needs to realize that Austin's the toughest SOB in the WWF and he could put Vince down on his ASS just like that. Vince then shoves Dude Love to the canvas and Dude says Vince just made a big mistake. Dude Love tries to put the mandible claw on McMahon. Austin tries to break it up. Foley then turns around and it's Austin who takes the claw. The crowd boos loudly here. McMahon looks confused, but he decides to get out of the ring. Austin comes around and Dude Love launches another attack. Dude Love applies another mandible claw as Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler try to make sense of what they're seeing. Dude Love then threatens Vince and the Dudester leaves the ring. Austin then tries to fight back on the outside, but Raw goes off the air as Dude Love sets Austin up on the announce table.